Hello, heretics, heathens, and other blasphemers. This is Lilith. I'm here with Renee for Veritas Voices, and happy Blasphemy Day. We are recording this on International Blasphemy Day. I don't know if we'll get it out in time, but in the spirit of the day, God sucks, and I can beat him up. Do you think that counts as blasphemy, Renee?
That definitely counts as blasphemy.
Good. Well, it's pretty easy to beat up someone imaginary. You just sort of flail your fists around. I could even fight very badly. But I don't know. Maybe I'll make one of those smackdown characters in a video game or something. Anyway, so we've decided to do something a little more lighthearted. This was actually your idea, Renee, to take some crazy Christian tweets and just, we see a lot of crazy on the other side. Sometimes you've just got to have a laugh. So, would you like to start us off?
Yes, I can definitely start us off. So, the first tweet, which we are gonna talk about, which we are gonna laugh about, and which we are going to address is from none other than Ken Ham. I know that many of you out there already want to facepalm, but let's see what he has to say. So,
he is very facepalmable.
Yeah. What Ken Ham said. Well, if you believe in evolution and that humans are just animals, if you have no problem sacrificing children, in brackets abortion, if you accept euthanasia to end the life of elderly and the sick, if you reject humans are made in God's image, if you harvest organs and cells from aborted, in brackets murdered babies, then why not propose eating human flesh? After all, there's nothing special about humans if we evolved by natural processes. A reminder that in a world where people reject God, ultimately anything else.
Yep, that's Ken Ham for you. Oh, this really reminds me of I was speaking to a Christian friend of mine, James, online a while back, and we were discussing some of the stupid things that Christians and atheists say to each other. And the one of them that I pointed out was the whole, you have no moral guide without God, which is silly and wrong. But I could understand how if they think that's the basis of morality, they would be confused. But they never ask us. They just assume and then throw a bunch of horrific acts at us. And he said, that's what I don't understand. Like, oh, murder won't get them, but the rape murder combo, that'll get them. Like, just put more horror on it. Ugh. I'm sorry. That's just you. What was your first reaction? Because I know you tweeted this one and you must have facepalmed so hard. I feel sorry for your face.
Yeah, my first reaction was like instantly, he does not seriously think that people who accept evolution would be just fine with cannibalism. I mean, right, yeah, I accept evolution. Yeah, I accept evolution, so yeah, let's just open up the restaurants and let's serve humans as our new favorite dish. I mean, that's just insane. I think no person who has the view on morality that that cannibalism is just fine, or at least very few people would accept that. Or I don't think that most people accept evolution would seriously endorse cannibalism on the basis that they accept evolution and do not believe in God.
That's the thing. You have to have something fundamentally fucked in the head to be the one who brings this up. Like, you don't agree with me, so why don't you just eat people? Literally. I mean, are you kidding? Yeah, in evolution, in nature, things eat other things. I don't know if you've noticed, that's happened to us. We've been eaten by lions and sharks and bears, and I'm not a big fan of it, obviously, but it has happened. That's not the same thing as opening up Shay, I don't know, Sweeney Todd. And just having human pies, because Ugh. Oh, yeah. But Ken Ham is devoted to othering and to degrading the other side as much as possible because he can't actually engage in an argument that would mean
Yeah,
understanding our perspective, and he can't do that. So,
yeah. And what also kind of pisses me off about it is that while he does not accept that abortion is a human right or whatever, or that there are instances where euthanasia or something like that would be totally justified. There are rational reasons, or there are reasoned argumentations you can provide for why people should be able to have an abortion, or why we can aid other people with their death when they're suffering. I mean, it's it's
yeah,
not
but
that
that's the
he.
thing to him. He doesn't seem to notice or he doesn't care that euthanasia is opt in. It's called "You're leaving anyway. You get to leave on your own terms if you so choose."
Yeah,
That's all it is. That's all it is. And but he doesn't even acknowledge that side of it.
yeah,
There's a myth that goes around fundamentalist groups that, in countries where euthanasia has been legalized, they just kill some old people to get rid of them if they don't have any family to object, to get them out of the way, which is like, for one, it's criminal and insane to say that, and it's disgusting. And,
yeah,
yeah, a position based on compassion, they have to go to that length to try and
yeah.
discredit it.
And I think that Canham is aware that there are rational defenses of abortion and euthanasia. I mean, you would have to know that it's crazy if he doesn't, but he lies about it anyways. I'm not aware of anybody who would rationally defend cannibalism, or I am not aware of any defense of cannibalism that in any way it's not
I'm aware of
prima
defenses
facie
in, like, the
absurd.
survival situation, like the plane crashes in the mountains and you have nothing to eat but the people who already died, but that's really weird and gross situations, and nobody wants to be
Yeah,
in that situation.
yeah,
But yeah, Ken Ham is crazy and creepy and fucked in the head, which is why
yeah.
I looked up one of his tweets, which I think might bookend nicely with this. This one is from a little while back, and it says, "We committed high treason against the God of creation when we sinned in Adam. We deserve nothing, not even life, yet God would save us? Wow." And I have to think, he's trying to project all this idea of human life being worthless onto us. And then he says we don't even deserve to be alive because our representative ate an apple. So we all deserve to die.
I
It,
mean, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt.
no, go ahead.
I mean, that is also some of the double think that Christians often employ. Like, on one hand, they think human life is sacred and it's so precious, and yeah, and we are made in God's image, and He loves us, and we are so great. But on the other hand, he also believes that we are all damned dirty sinners who are not deserving of life, who are deserving of eternal torture. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, well,
I
and the
don't.
thing is, it's
Yeah,
God's option.
yeah,
We have to hold each other sacred unless they don't believe in God, in which case
yeah,
they're evil bastards. But God can just murder us all to death at any time for any reason because he's bored. And that's totally fine because he owns
yeah,
us and we're property.
yeah. And he does not see at all how these two positions kind of contradict.
Just a little, just a tiny bit. Just yeah. I don't really know what he thinks inherent worth is. Apparently, inherent worth means you have to regard even a single cell as a full human being, and you can't have, any interference in life and death matters, but you also can totally be slaughtered at any time by a capricious God. Uh, I, logic? Logic? Uh, yeah, I don't know. I think he's a little bit crazy, but that's just me. Um, hmm,
I mean, a little bit crazy is, I think, putting it nicely, but it's
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, It's I should have gotten oven gloves. I got to wrap my hand in something because I know I'm going to face palm hard.
Yeah,
But why don't you you had another one you brought up that wasn't Ken Ham crazy. It's actually an older, more old-fashioned one.
yeah. It's sort of a fan account from G.K. Chesterton, which
Mm-hmm.
I am about to bring up, and he said the following: "Even if divorce is not a sin, it is most certainly a disgrace. It's not like the breaking of a chain which has been forcibly imposed upon a slave. It's like the breaking of a sword that has been deliberately taken up and deliberately dishonored by a traitor."
Ugh. You know, only a man could write something that's stupid and tone deaf. I swear. So, you know Chesterton was a Catholic, right?
Yes, I'm aware of that.
Yeah, Catholics are really big on pissing on divorce. Evelyn Warak actually apparently wrote a letter to a friend of his so that it would arrive on the day of her wedding when she was getting married for a second time after getting a divorce, saying that her wedding night would add to the agony of Calvary and the spittle on the face of Christ, which is just the most fucked up thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah,
But yeah, they really do want to have marriage be this sacred thing, and that if you leave, it's like betraying your country and all these things. And I find it ironic, the chains around the neck of a slave. That's what marriage was for women for the majority of human history. It was a step, really just a different form of slavery. In some situations, maybe a slight step above, but
yeah.
not, yeah. So,
And and
irony.
and I mean, he says it for as a blanket statement for all marriages. I mean, I think there are marriages which can go great for both parties, and that's awesome. But there are also marriages where that is not the case. I mean, there are people who are married as children to a person whom they do not want to marry. There are people who are abused in their marriage. There are people who are even raped in their marriage.
Yep.
That stuff happens. And to say that
Hmm.
such a person wanting a divorce or getting a divorce is somehow a traitor or is doing something that is morally reprehensible is absolutely absurd, in my opinion.
It's cruel. It's really cruel. And I mean, the funny thing is, very similar opinions were shared by, say, C.S. Lewis. And he, the idea that marriage should be sacred. But there seemed to be this idea that people wanted to be able to divorce just because they didn't feel like they were in love with the other person anymore, as if that was all there was to it, as if, it wasn't these far more complicated things. And it, it's just, yeah, it's totally diminishing the reasons why you would want a divorce. I can say as a divorced woman, it was not just, I don't really have the same fluffy feelings I did at the beginning anymore, so bye. Uh, it was something, far worse and far more complex than that. And that's, yeah, it's just another level of control. What can I say? The Catholic Church really likes to control things. And, you know, why bother wasting all that money on telescreens and thought police when you can just get people to police each other to death?
Yeah. And one thing which I also want to say concerning this is people simply move apart in some instances.
Mhm.
People evolve, their characters evolve. They maybe have different views. Maybe they abandon their faith. May all kinds of things happen.
There's a
And
good one. How many times has someone been divorced because their partner left them when they deconverted?
yeah, that's a huge thing. And people move on and people move apart, and that's okay. If if people evolve their character, if people move apart, if people do not or just have fundamental disagreements about some things, then they their views are simply not compatible anymore, then what can you do? Should you live in sadness? Should you just waste your life? Should you remain in a relationship that genuinely makes you sick or does make you happy? I don't think so.
No,
And
I
neither should
agree.
anyone else.
I agree, absolutely. And yeah, that's the thing. I mean, some people are just determined to be miserable and to make everyone else miserable too. And I know religions are determined to denote everything sacred that they've ever had any control over so that you can't touch it so they can keep all their little power. But speaking of marriage, there was Pastor Mark Driscoll, another skis-ball evangelical pastor, and he put up this lovely note from him and his wife. It's actually, they wrote it out on one of those little recipe cards and posted a photo of it. I don't know why. And it says, uh, Satan wants you and your spouse to fight with each other by yelling at one another. God wants you and your spouse to fight for one another by praying together. You know, Mark and Grace. And I'm like, seriously, people fight because Satan. Apparently, did you know that's why people fight?
I did not know that that's why people fight, but it's crazy that when he thinks that marriages are not going as they should go, it's Satan. It is Satan.
Well,
Satan is evil. He hates marriage. You
absolutely.
two better you two better not divorce,
Of course not.
because
Of course.
that's what
Well,
Satan wants.
it's not that, life is difficult and there are sometimes times where you need to work out differences or perhaps where someone like a man has behaved inappropriately. No, 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 no. If you yell at about anything or fight about anything or don't stand by your spouse about anything, you're helping Satan.
And really, you shouldn't fight at all, because obviously people cannot possibly have genuine intellectual disagreements within their marriage. It's Satan.
Oh, of
It's
course. Of
absolutely
course.
Satan, and when you fight, you are playing into Satan's plan.
Absolutely. And of course there can't be any honest intellectual disagreement because everything is Jesus and it's always Jesus because Bible reasons, Bible, Bible. Logic. So apparently everybody, Satan wants you to fight with your spouse. Um I don't even know what to say with that. Honestly, for all they blame Satan on messing with marriages, based on their representatives, God is getting his fingers in a lot more than Satan. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
Oh.
and
All
I
right, your
mean,
turn. Sorry, go ahead.
one more thing which I wanted to say. Yeah, I mean, if Satan's destroying all those marriages, why doesn't God just get rid of Satan so that people just won't fight anymore? I mean, God certainly appreciates marriage, right?
He likes it. Oh,
Yeah,
or based on his behavior in Job, maybe he and Satan have running bets.
yeah.
I mean, it would make sense. They've bet on things before and destroyed people's lives over it, so it's not exactly new. Maybe they have some kind of a bet going where Satan bets on divorce and God bets on not divorce, and then Satan's like fucking around behind the scenes or something. I don't know. That would make some
Well,
kind of theological sense.
it it would seem to me then that Satan is kind of winning the bet at the moment. I mean, I think it's a well-known fact that 50% of all marriages are end up in a divorce. So
Yeah,
what's
although
up
I
with
don't
that,
know how
God?
current that stat is, but yeah,
So
that
one has to wonder, why does God lose this bet?
Well, and especially why does he lose so much among his people? Evangelicals, especially, have just as much, if not more, divorce and very toxic ones at that. It's almost like telling people that sex is filthy and they should save it for the one they love and to only have sex with one person and that will make it good. And there's no other way to be than this specific way, and men should be in charge and headship and blah, blah, blah. It's almost like raising people to think that that's the only way to be doesn't make for healthy marriages.
Yeah.
You'd think, huh? But that couldn't be it. That couldn't be it. No.
No. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, Christianity is intrinsically misogynistic, and that
Oh, yeah.
definitely plays a huge part in the real reason
Mm.
why so many people get divorced. Because I mean, it says it right there in Genesis 1 that, or I think it was 1, maybe it was 2, I don't know, that the woman is supposed to be a sort of an aid or a servant to the man. She
Oh,
was
yeah.
created for him, especially for him.
Yeah. That's the whole idea. Adam was bored and,
Yeah,
according to the actual story, couldn't find anything he wanted to bone. So God had to go make someone special just for him because add-on. I don't know. It's just
yeah,
like a DLC.
yeah.
Um, okay, so what other tweets did we have? I feel sure we had another one. Oh yeah, I think you're up.
Yeah, I am up. This tweet comes to us from Justin Peters. I think he is some sort of preacher, I don't know, but also a Christian. He said
Mm-hmm.
this: Jesus promised an abundant life in John 10:10. John the Baptist and Paul were in prison and beheaded. Stephen was stoned. Peter was crucified upside down. Did these men have abundant lives? Yes. Jesus promised an abundant life, not an abundant lifestyle.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to give him this credit. Okay, he is trying to speak out against the the doctrine of prosperity gospel, and that's a good thing.
Could you elaborate for
Oh,
others
okay.
and what that is?
Prosperity gospel is what you get from a lot of scuzzy, like just straight up charlatan televangelists. It's the type of thing that Joel Osteen pushes. The idea that if you're blessed by God, if you're doing right, you'll be blessed by God. And if you're blessed by God, you will have prosperity, which is, I mean, theologically pretty simple minded, but also it's a really great way to scam people, because then you get the poor people to send you their money as an act of faith. And this act of faith is supposed to make God obligated to return it, but not obligated, but still obligated to, return this. So basically, you end up with a lot of impoverished people buying skeezbag evangelists their third plane while they, have faith that God will help them make their mortgage payment or their medicine payments in the States where they're uncivilized and don't have health care. So yeah, it's completely fucked up. So what he's saying there is intended to counteract that, and that's a good thing in and of itself. But the whole idea that, like, this is the Christian life, it's the best thing ever to be, beaten and have horrible things happen to you. That's what it really means when God blesses you. And it's like, so persecution complex much? I mean,
Yeah,
yay, martyrdom.
yeah.
Um,
And I mean, one of the biggest problems I see with this is that Jesus supposedly says that they'll have an abundant life, and then he goes on to say that, yeah, an abundant life of physical pain, beatings, and everything. That
yes,
surely is what Jesus meant by an abundant life.
and you have to be grateful for that because you're doing it for Jeebus, and Jeebus will be proud of you So that makes it all okay. Also, if you, live at peace with your neighbors by not being an asshole, you're probably doing something wrong because they're not hitting you.
Yeah.
Logic. Christian persecution complex at its finest. If you don't persecute us, we'll make you persecute us so we can be righteous.
Or we just feel like we're persecuted even though we are not persecuted at all. Because the one Christmas is totally real and people not saying Merry Christmas, that's complete persecution.
Of course,
That's
of course.
horrible.
They're one step away from being burnt at the stake.
Never mind that there are Christians in Africa who actually burn witches. They are doing the persecution.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, it's a bit like someone screaming about how they're going to die from a paper cut. At least the North American evangelicals and their persecution complex. They're a little melodramatic. But, as we've pointed out before, logic doesn't have a great deal to do with this. And this one apologist you found, Stephen Ellie, is a pretty good example of that, because he says, the problem with having an apologetic that depends on evidence and information is that the one who knows more wins the debate. Apparently, this is a problem. Instead, deal with the worldview and theological evidence by which evidence, or the theological foundation by which evidence is interpreted. Attack the presuppositions with the scriptures.
I mean, that guy is obviously a presuppositionalist. For those of you out there who do not know what a presuppositionalist is, please don't try to find out. It will be physically painful. But
I'm hitting myself in the head with a book right now.
Yeah, presuppositionalists are awful, and what I find ironic is that he openly admits that he does not have evidence.
That's it's surprising. It never seems to occur to them that when the most intelligent people and the most evidence and the most reason are not on their side, and when they constantly lose because someone else knows more, it doesn't seem to occur to them that just maybe,
they're wrong.
There might be a problem with their position.
Yeah.
Wild thought, I know, but maybe. Oh, yeah, basically the whole presuppositionalist argument comes down to, but I'm right. And then Bible, 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 Bible.
Yeah. I mean, I think I know for a fact that there are great arguments against presuppositionalism, and we have, I think, also to get into presuppositionalism and how to view it a little bit in the future, but we have
it refutes itself from an argumentative standpoint, but how to deal with someone who's got their head that far up their own backside, I don't know how much can really be done on that one.
Yeah. I mean, both of us have argued with presuppositionalism in the past. We will probably argue with presups in the future, and I don't think I ever lost a debate to a presup. So they oftentimes lose. They know their argument sucks, or they should know that the argument sucks, and they should abandon it. But presuppositionalism, from a psychological standpoint, is just closing your eyes, closing your ears, and having faith, and not possibly straying from it. I don't think that there is any presuppositionist out there who is a Christian because of the argument.
Oh, yeah, no, it's presuppositionalism is it's fingers in the ears, la la la, I'm right, la 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 la. Honestly, it's just doublethink. Lots and lots of doublethink. And I prefer not to be that dishonest or engage in that much cognitive dissonance, because it's a bit of a pain in the ass. So, yeah, that's me, apparently. I'm a special snowflake.
Yeah. mean,
Mm.
the
But you said,
problem
sorry, go ahead.
the problem with precepts is that they have come to terms with the fact that they do not have any evidence on their side, so they have given up on that, and pretty much that's their approach right now. And
Yeah. Yeah.
on a
It's
difference towards evidence, semantics, that's all they have. And
yeah, it's called it doesn't matter if I don't have any evidence, I'm still right anyway because I said so.
yeah,
Logic.
yeah,
I'm sorry. It's just anyway. Now you promised that you would have one I hadn't seen yet.
yeah.
So I'm
It's
curious.
it's a surprise. The tweet comes from none other than the Banana Man, where it comes from.
Oh, the stupid is just going to be so juicy on this one.
Yeah.
I can tell. Go ahead.
So what he says is the following: the scriptures tell us two things about an unsaved person. He has a God-given knowledge of right and wrong. God has placed eternity on the most hardened sinner's heart. God has placed eternity on the most hardened sinner's heart. Use these powerful weapons in the midst of evangelism to your advantage.
Same shit, different day.
Yeah.
Look, it's another, I'm right because I'm right because
Yeah.
reasons.
I
Reasons.
I did promise you that it was gonna be stupid, and it is stupid.
It is indeed stupid. You have
Yeah.
kept your promise. I
Yeah.
yes, you have. Horrible man. God, the banana man. Is he still trying to pretend that the banana thing was a joke and it's all our fault that we didn't understand because of whatever bullshit with the Coke
Yeah.
can? Ugh.
I think he did. He still does that. But the problem I see with his tweet is number one, as far as our consciences goes, there's a reason why there are different moral frameworks like Kantian ethics, like utilitarianism, all those moral frameworks. There's a reason why people used to think that slavery is that slavery is objectively moral. There's a reason why people in Nazi Germany thought that what they were doing was objectively moral, and why anti-Semitism has been prevalent in Europe for centuries.
Yeah,
It's not
Christianity is the
anymore.
reason.
Yeah. And the reason for that is, I think that our conscience is not objective. It's not
Mm.
a tool by which we can detect objective morals. I mean, that that alone is, I think, shown by the fact that people did in good conscience own and be slaves in the past.
Well, I don't know if in good conscience, but yeah, I know what you mean. And it made them more brutal. Owning people makes you a bad person even if you somehow weren't one already because it was just a cultural thing you were born into. Like that's
Yeah,
the thing. It makes you doing bad will turn you into more of a bad person.
yeah.
But that's the thing. It that and the thing about eternity being on our hearts too, that bugs me because they keep pretending that we're terrified of death and it's really them. Like seriously.
Yeah,
I was never more scared of death than when I believed in God.
yeah. And personally, I can only speak for myself. Eternity is definitely not on my heart. I have no desire whatsoever to live forever and to be immortal. I would like to live maybe for 1 million or 2 million years. I mean, that would be fun. I think longer lives would be great. But eventually, after a long time, you are just like, okay, I have had
Fuck
enough.
it.
I wanna die.
I'm out. I'm out, bitches. Drop the mic, walk away. Yeah, no, totally. I completely I just eventually you'd be so tired.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh, can you imagine how tired you would be? I cannot
I
even imagine.
think very tired.
Yeah. All right. Well,
I mean, one final thing which I want to say
mm,
is I do see sort of an appeal to an afterlife, but not as an appeal that I may live forever, but the appeal for me, slight appeal, I still wouldn't want to live forever. I still wouldn't want there to be an afterlife. But I think one thing or one aspect which I would find appealing about it is that I would be able to see my mom again, or in general the people in my life whom I have lost.
Yeah. And I mean, that's a part of the appeal that I don't mock, because I think we can all understand that. And that's fair. Wanting to keep the people you love is, we all want that. But at the same, and, just having a happily ever after where you can go is a great, it feels great. But unfortunately, feeling great doesn't make something real. So, something that Ray apparently has not come to terms with yet.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it's my turn for my surprise. And this is another one from Mark Driscoll, who I've decided to focus on because he blocked me the first time I talked to him. And I didn't even know he was as bad as Ken Ham with that. So Pastor Mark is a douche. Anyway, so he did like notes in his phone, took a screenshot of it and put it up as a tweet. I don't know if he did this so that the algorithm wouldn't actually search his words. Maybe that was it. But it says this: to every preacher stepping into the pulpit to teach the Bible tomorrow, thank you. The reason you will be tired after preaching is because in addition to people, demonic spirits will be at the church and opposing you. So stand firm. Fist bump emoji.
Well, that's kind of crazy.
I know.
May it be the case that he is slightly obsessed with demons?
Yeah, well, it seems to be his go-to reason for everything. My wife is mad at me. Must be demons. After working all week and then getting up really early on a Sunday morning, probably without a decent cup of coffee and talking for an hour, I'm tired. Must be demons.
Yeah.
Flat tires are definitely demons. Bad spelling demons. Do you think?
Atheists are demons.
Oh, of course we're demons. Do you think if he doesn't get his stuff back from the dry cleaners in time, do you think that's demons?
Must be demons. Everything battles demons, and it can't possibly be that it's a coincidence or that there are not demons involved.
Or that
It's
maybe
always
he's
demons.
used to his wife, or
Yeah.
maybe he just needs to get more sleep? No. Demons.
Demons.
Demons. Yeah, definitely demons.
And every time he has a blessing in his life, then it's automatically God. Because we do not have, because we can have double standards and we can play tennis without the net.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very heads I win, tails you lose. Yeah, that was Sam Harris used that line once, playing tennis without the net, and I was like,
Yeah.
yep, that's a good analogy.
That's where I got it from. I have listened to this.
I figured.
This rebuttal of Craig as well.
Oh, Craig. I want to listen to those debates, but at the same time, Craig makes me want to hit myself in the face even harder than Ray Comfort does, and that is saying something, okay?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I'll try. Oh my goodness. I think that's all the stupid I can handle, even for the sake of blasphemy.
Yeah.
So, happy Blasphemy Day, everybody. I hope you blaspheme frequently and enjoy your blasphemies, and be sure to sin extra, because, you got to make up for Sunday. I don't know. You got any other messages for our lovely viewers, Renee?
Well, I too hope that you blaspheme a lot today and that you also sin a lot, because after all, if you wouldn't, then Jesus died for nothing.
Absolutely. Keep those sins going. We need to make God's life matter, apparently.
And one thing which I do want to say is to our listeners. I hope we can get your feedback on this conversation, or on this format, so to speak, because maybe we will consider it that we do this more often, or that we do this regularly. We find it fun. I think it's a little bit more lighthearted. We also will get back to argumentation, or address certain arguments, but sometimes you also just kind of need a laugh.
You do, you do. I promise we'll get back to serious stuff next week. But if you enjoyed this, let us know, because, it's good to laugh. And we're always happy to provide that as much as possible for
Yeah.
you and, well, frankly, for ourselves too, because
Yeah.
let's not pretend we don't enjoy laughing at the
Yeah.
stupid. So,
And
Renee, do you have sorry?
if you have other suggestions for us, you can reach us on Twitter at Lilith Liberated, at Revelation, and at Veritas Voices. Links will be below. And yes,
Absolutely. And if you have any additional tips for dealing with the evil demons that apparently think Mark Driscoll is the most important person on the planet, feel free to pass those along too. We're always happy to hear new ideas.
yes.
I think that's all for today. Take care of yourselves. We love you all, and reason bless.